I'll just kind of set the stage a little bit. I made a post a few days ago and I showed a little quick tip. That's something I call a quick tip. And I thought it might be useful for folks to kind of understand why I do quick tip videos. And if you look at my YouTube channel, it's kind of littered with tutorials and stuff like that. This is a little bit of a twist on that kind of strategy, and I'm going to talk about why quick tips and then some of the things that I kind of have developed in the way of production that will hopefully let me kind of crank these out a lot quicker and with a lot better effect, and to maximize that effect and leverage the effort. So we're going to chat a little bit about that. It's not a formal presentation or anything, but I do have some points that I think a lot of people might find interesting. So we're going to do that. Yeah, Maureen says she loved that quick tip. I think that's actually kind of a good place to start. Let's actually just kind of roll with that for a second. Maureen says she loved the quick tip, right? And I'll tell you what, Maureen, I will ask you this. Why did you love it? Is there something you liked in general about it? And I think this might kind of roll to the basis of why I'm kind of starting to focus a little more on these really quick kinds of tips. And to kick that off a little bit while you noodle on that, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to a video here, and I'm going to kind of put this link into the chat box for you. And in fact, a lot of you have probably already seen it. But the thing of it is, and I'm going to start off with a little bit of the strategic aspect to it here. In the context of this video, in the content of this video, one of the things that I do is I talk about the value of content and the fact that content videos will, in the long run, buy you much more, and by buy you I mean return to you in the way of profits and benefits, much more than a sales video will. And the reason for that is that people, of course, buy from people they know, like, and trust. And you will serve yourself well by positioning yourself as an expert in whatever market you're in. So it doesn't matter at all to me what it is you do or what you're using video for. It just is a good thing to understand that from an overall business marketing strategy, one of the best things that you can do is to turn people that are interested in what you might have to offer, or your tribe, you can call it, your community, whatever that is to turn those people into raving fans of yours. And at that point, if your goal is to sell stuff on the internet, you don't have to sell. People will buy from people they know, like, and trust. So to that end, one of the things that is really kind of valuable there is to provide the kinds of content that people will find of value in a manner in which they can easily consume it and thus be favorably impressed by you. Okay? Does everyone kind of get that overall concept, or what it is I'm kind of trying to get at here? A quick tip, and in other words, leveraging your expertise and or your perspective in a way that gives other people value without the expectation of necessarily reciprocity or the expectation of anything in return, has a lot of benefits. I think it can again be woven into almost any kind of market. There's stuff you know that is of value to other people, and what will happen is people will come to value your perspective. And this is one kind of business strategy where you position yourself that way. So quick tips are kind of a interesting aspect there. And what I thought I'd do is I put this little demo together, and actually, let's see here. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat box. We're going to kind of walk through it. Here's kind of the thing. So I want to just point out a couple of different things. First of all, it's really short. This particular one is 1 minute and 42 seconds, as we can see here. And in reality, the tip itself is really only about 60 seconds. And if anyone can kind of guess why I might want to do such a thing, to create such a short piece of content, go ahead and pop it in the question box there. Why is a short video sometimes more advantageous? There's a couple of reasons, and you could probably think of a couple. Why is it more advantageous than, say, a 10 or 15 minute sales pitch or tutorial or some kind of in-depth kind of a thing? Attention span, says Stuart. Absolutely, that's probably the main one, is the attention span. Short, sweet. People are busy, says Diana. Absolutely, and it is come to the fact of our video society to a degree. We're literally programmed for that, aren't we? There's a reason why commercials are of a certain length, and why anything longer than that falls into kind of a different category of video content for us to consume. So there's the attention span thing. People's time is valuable. So if you think about it, in a lot of ways, people will appreciate the fact that you are providing value, you're doing it quickly, and you're doing it in deference to their time and their needs. So by providing quick tips like this, again, without the expectation of things in return, with the appreciation of the value of people's time, all of these little things, these little nuances start to stack up on each other, and we start to squeeze as much of the actual benefit juice out of them, if you will, as we possibly can. Information overload. They'll stay and watch a short video, says Tom. And that's another great point. It's another one of those things that's going to help us out in the long run. Now, why is that? Because if you think about it, we want to engage people. We want to get in front of their eyeballs. And of course, one of the ways we do that is to retain their attention on sites like YouTube, because they can find us there and they can follow us there. It's a community. YouTube is now the largest social media network on the planet. It's bigger in terms of engagement and usage than Facebook. Okay, and it's where people go to search for and find information that they choose to consume, to satisfy the need that they have to scratch their itch. Okay, and the thing is that when YouTube is deciding which content to put in front of those eyeballs is a result of doing a search, then the amount of time that people spend and the completeness with which they consume our content is one of the key factors that gets us there, that gets us on those ranking pages. So Tom hit it right on the head. If people stay and watch, the longer people make it through your video, the more relevant YouTube decides it is. Okay, so that's another great benefit, right? So here's the thing, it's short, and it is short by design. A couple of the other advantages besides notoriously short attention spans happen to be, well, let me ask you a question. Is it easier to create a 60-second video or a 6-minute video, right? So the other thing is, by keeping them very short and punchy, they're easier to create. The more content you consistently put out, the better all of this ranking juice and stuff works for you. So that's just another big aspect. If we can't crank these things out really quickly and really efficiently, then we're just not going to be maximizing the leverage that we get from providing great content. Here's a couple of other points. If it's short and somebody walks through it pretty quickly and they like it, they're actually much more likely to share it, right? I don't mind sharing this with my friends and people that might be interested because, hey, it's quick. So that's going to help us out. And the more you create, the better the overall engagement and just the greater benefits that we're going to realize from doing such a thing. That's the first kind of thing, is for a quick tip, and I'm kind of calling this the anatomy of a quick tip. Again, it's just my top lines of thought and a few tips and tricks that I'm going to give you here. So keep them short. That's the first thing. The next thing that I kind of want to touch on is that when you watch this, let's just start it at the beginning here. What you're going to notice is that, oh, that's kind of neat. It's kind of slick, right? It has a level of professional quality to it, and that helps with the perception that the viewers will have of my content. Not just my content, but of me as the person delivering the content. So there is a value to a certain level of production quality. It's not something you always have to do, but here's the thing. If it's easy for me to do it, as opposed to not do it, then why would I not do it? Okay? That's kind of my take on it. You'll find all kinds of pundits out there and everything that their basic take is, well, all you got to do is fire up your smartphone, hold it out in front of you, and start talking. And that's okay. I don't disparage that at all. It is, and especially getting your face on camera, which is something that I'm gearing my studio up to do a lot more, is of incredible value for that know, like, and trust factor. So that's kind of a thing. But when you can add little production elements, and I'm going to use this intro here as kind of a thing, if I can create these kinds of assets once and then so quickly and so easily modify them to use them again, then that's kind of a good thing. So one of the tips that I use for this is to not necessarily create these kinds of things from scratch, but to find them. And this particular asset here happens to be from one of my favorite resources called Presenter Media. And essentially what it is it's a PowerPoint slide deck. Okay, and these are animated. So I'll just jump over to Presenter Media for a second real quick, and I'll also kind of give you guys a link. Presenter Media is not just for PowerPoint stuff, it is one of my favorite resources, and I'll call it's my favorite video asset resource, because there's just so much stuff here, and it's like the most stupid low price thing you can imagine. So on Presenter Media, for $50 a year, you get access to all kinds of stuff, not just PowerPoint templates, which are awesome, but all kinds of imagery and graphics and video backgrounds and things that you can customize, and it's just ridiculous. And you see that they add stuff all the time. Now, the kind of sweet part is I've been with these guys for over 4 years, I think. And when I first started, yeah, there was a bunch of stuff in there, but the cool part is that for people that just kind of get in now, you get all the previous stuff. All of it for years. And like I say, since May, they've added all of this stuff. And one of the things that I noticed when I was going out to find, some of these elements to do my new quick tip series was this particular animated slide deck. So I downloaded it, and because it fit, right? Here's a 1-minute quick tip, and I'll just kind of kick this into slideshow mode. So this thing comes in, and the hourglass drops its little sand down here, and the clouds come in, and boom, there it is. And it's going to be super easy for me to go ahead, and now I've modified this text once, and the next time I want to do my quick tip, all I need to do is change the title. Okay. Now the thing with a bunch of the Presenter Media things, or I'll just say PowerPoint templates in general, especially the ones you can find from corporate sources and stuff, they end up being very PowerPointy, is what I call it. See, this is like what a corporate presentation would be like, and then they put all kinds of text here, and for video creators, I don't recommend we do that, right? So I mean, maybe there's other slides in here that will fit with my branding of the 1-minute quick tip. Here's a good example. So let's say I do my quick tip deal and I use this as my intro clip, but maybe at the end, as part of my call to action, or to add a little extra value, I do like a recap, right? So there's my quick tip. Here are the top things you need to do as a result of that. So yeah, I might use this particular slide. I probably would never use this as it is with all this text and junk here. But hey, here's an image I could use. I could even pull this into Camtasia if I wanted to. Let's just try that for a second. So I'm going to click on this hourglass deal right here, and I'm going to save as picture. Right? And I can save this as a hourglass 1. And if I save it with PNG, transparency, it's just going to be something that I can probably use. Maybe this is a call out, right? That fits in with my other content while I'm working inside of Camtasia. You want a bunch of cool callouts? Just find really cool images. So yeah, I like these slides, but you'll notice that almost all of these are hidden over here, right? Because I don't care about any of that other stuff. What I wanted was this little intro to make my video kind of slick and quick. So all I basically did was modified my first slide, hid all the rest. I go into slideshow mode, and I say record slideshow. And I don't need narration. I start recording, and I click once to bring in this animation. I click again, and I'm done. Right? So what I ended up with there, if we jump over into Camtasia for a second, I'll show you kind of how I worked this project. Again, this is my anatomy of a quick tip. So in my clip bin, I brought in this little animated video that PowerPoint just created for me, right? And I just added a slick little piece of music, like one of the royalty-free little clips, and you'll notice that it only lasts down here until the end of my intro clip, right? So that's part of the tools that I use to be slick and quick, and I'm just going to kind of give that term. I'm going to coin it right now. Yeah, Stuart, actually, I really just kind of went through how I made that intro. So hopefully that answered your question. And he also would like to know what template that is. So let's go find it. In fact, here's one of the things I like. I'm going to go ahead and sign in just because. You know what? Let's not even use their site to find this. Here's the sweetest part if you do PowerPoint video stuff. See right up here? Presenter Media has a plugin for PowerPoint. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in, and what's going to happen, it's going to sign me in automatically, and now I'm going to have a template image video background search engine right within PowerPoint. So I'm going to search for, I don't know, time, and we'll search for, I'll search the PowerPoint templates. We'll just try this search. I probably could just search all of it, but sometimes I find this works better. Here you go. Boom. So for these, of course, I always use the 16:9 templates. And they usually come in 2 flavors. These are for the weak and lame corporate crowd. But here, all I would have to do then is open the template. By the way, so if I'm talking about quick tips and stuff, you'll notice, let's see what else they have. So I got a little animation here, a little hourglass spinning around. You got clocks, you got your calendars, you got all kinds of stuff. Okay, so that's, like I say, one of the tips and things that I do.